like a city walls are broken through as a person who lacks self-control, verse 28. City walls broken through as a person who lacks self-control. Now, nowadays, especially in America, we don't surround our city with walls. Don't have to. But in the olden days, if you got together, you put up a wall. They kept the bad guys out at night, the invading armies, the brigands, the bandits, the thugs, the Cossacks, whoever coming after you, you put up your wall. Many European cities still have walls. You can go to Jerusalem this day and still see bits and pieces of walls. And the Romans built a wall, Hadrian's Wall in England. You can still find bits and pieces of that from 2,000 years ago. Building walls. You put up these walled cities. Well, it was there for what? Defense and protection. A place to defend from where you're more protected, and keep out the bad guys. We get that. And if all those walls are broken, what happens? Well, bad guys can come in here, bad guys can come over there, bad guys can come over here, bad guys can come over there. And it says, this is like a person who lacks self-control. So first thing we have to look is that word self-control. It talks about control, and who's doing the controlling? Self. This means you don't blame your daddy or your mama or the way you were raised, or you didn't get what you wanted when you were a kid. Whatever you're doing, you're not controlling yourself. You need to be the one doing it. Well, my parents never taught me. As soon as you can make that statement, you know enough to control yourself. You can learn, you can self-correct. And as soon as you're able to say, well, my dad never showed me, or my dad always did, you're aware of the problem. You should be able to self-correct, self-control. You want to do this, and you stop yourself from doing that. Self is in control. Should you master this thing in many aspects of life, life will be much smoother ride for you. For instance, suppose one's, and this is just life, when I was in school, some kids could spell. I mean, they could just spell. Other kids could do math. And I'm talking elementary school. You just knew, people who can draw. Some people can just draw and draw, I got like stick figures and, they got a picturesque landscape. Like, you're in the second grade. How are you doing? Is that Paris? I mean, how did you do that? So some people got some skills. Now, if you don't have math skills, that can affect your credit score. You can make some bank mistakes. Some checks might be rubberized, if you know what I'm saying. Well, it's funny that you can't even talk about that anymore. Most people under 35 have never written a check. Did you know that? Most people under 30, 35 have never written a check. But you're going to have trouble with your finances because you can't do math. But here's a funny one. I know people who are very good at math and still have financial problems. You know why? Because you also have to have self-control. You can be good at math, but if you can't control your spending, you're going to have a hard time.